Hey guys, today we are going to be making up a big batch of Caribbean green seasoning. Now, this is one of my favorite ways to add in an addition of flavor to my marinades, my meats, fish, stews, you name it. It is perfect to have in your refrigerator to add into any dish. So let's jump right into the ingredients that we're going to be using today for our green seasoning. We're going to be using all of these green onions. I like to just use the full bunch of green onions, and we're just going to cut off that little end right there, but we're going to use a lot of green onions. And also cilantro. I like to use a full bunch of cilantro as well. Adds a nice brightness to my dish, to my green seasoning. We're using one yellow bell pepper and one whole red bell pepper. We're going to use a full bunch of parsley as well as an entire bunch of celery for our green seasoning. We're going to peel one medium to large white onion, as well as a full bulb of garlic. Got to have the garlic, guys. All right, so for our spice, our heat, we're going to use 2 habanero peppers. Now, you can adjust your heat, add more peppers, add less, use a different pepper variety. It's completely up to you, but I'm just using habanero today. That works for me. Also, you need a full bunch of thyme. Thyme is absolutely necessary for this green seasoning. You got to have it, guys. And then I'm also adding in limes. I like to just peel the lime and add them in whole. It adds a nice brightness to my green seasoning, and it also, because of the acidity in it, extends the shelf life in our refrigerator. So let's go ahead and jump into washing and prepping our vegetables.
All of our ingredients kind of cut down into our bowl. I'm using a blender today, and I don't have a lot of space in my blender, so I just want to kind of cut this down just so that I can have enough room to get as much in my blender as possible. So you can use a food processor, whatever you have, just to get everything blended up well. And I'm gonna get all of our celery chopped up. And you may have to do this in a couple of batches depending on what size blender or food processor you have. I know I'm gonna have to do like 2 batches for my blender. But we're gonna use all of our celery, and I did wash all of our ingredients. So these are good and clean. And what I wanted to tell you is that with green seasoning, there are so many different ways to make it, and you'll see so many different varieties of green seasoning. What is going to be pretty consistent across everyone's recipe, I would say, is going to be the thyme, the green onions, definitely the spicy hot peppers, and the garlic and parsley. We're going to use all of our cilantro. Now, cilantro is another thing that's optional, but I love the brightness of cilantro. I love the taste of it. So if a recipe can call for cilantro and add it in it, you better believe I'm putting it in there. Okay, so we're going to use all of our parsley, stems and all. Just getting everything into our bowl. Okay, so now I did my garlic off camera, guys, because believe it or not, that entire bulb of garlic took me about 20 minutes to peel. And the whole time I was like, why didn't I just buy garlic that was already peeled for this? I don't know, but it took me about 20 minutes to peel the entire bulb. But we're using all of the garlic, and you can add more garlic if you like. If you want to do 2 bulbs of garlic, that's fine. But let me show you really quick how to peel your garlic. So I just saved one to do on camera for you guys. The easiest way is to take the back of your knife and just kind of give it a good little push, and you'll hear it kind of crack, and then it'll be able to kind of easy just take your, see how it just kind of comes off. I hope I'm in frame for you guys. I hope I was in frame the whole time. Okay, and you see, there we go. All right, so So we're going to get our onion cut down to size. I'm using the entire onion, and I've already peeled this. Let me just get some smaller pieces of my onion going. Guys, I'm telling you, when you use this, oh, it smells so good. It tastes so good. And anything that you're preparing, your rice, your stews, if you're grilling meat, fish, soups, anything, you put this on a couple of tablespoons, a little bit goes a long way. It really does. Like, I usually generally use maybe about 4 heaping tablespoons when I'm cooking. And I'm telling you, it just, it takes your dish up like so many notches in flavor. Especially if you let it sit on and marinate for a while, even up to overnight. Oh my goodness. All right, so we're using all of our green onion. And like I said, for this end right here, you just take that off. You want to discard of that. But everything else is going to get into our seasoning. Now for our thyme. You can, if you want to, you can sit here and try to peel off all of the leaves if you want, but and that's absolutely fine too. Or you can just put all of it in to your seasoning and blend it down as well. Just get rid of the big woody parts like this right here. See how that's a bit more woody than the rest of the stems? The rest of the thyme stems are pretty thin, but I do want to get rid of this. And then everything else can go in there just like that. And if you have a good high power blender or food processor, you're not even going to worry about it. It's going to blend down just fine. But you can also just go ahead and just take your fingers and just kind of pinch them off of the stem like that. Completely up to you. All right. So then the last thing is we're going to do our bell peppers and then our habanero peppers. All right, we're just gonna cut this down into blendable chunks. I'm using the habanero peppers today. You can use Scotch bonnet, jalapenos, whatever hot pepper that you want to use. If you want to make it super hot, go for it. Just however you want to control your heat. I'm actually going to put all of this in here. Now, if you didn't want it as hot, you can take your seeds out. With peppers, remember your heat is in your seeds. So be careful when you're handling your peppers. Always, wash your hands before you touch your face and your eyes for sure. But if you don't want it too hot, just take your seeds out. But I am going to use all of my pepper because the last time I made it, I did use 2, and it was enough to give a good amount of heat. Not too hot though, it wasn't too spicy at all, but it gave just the right amount of heat for that big jar that I made in my last batch. And then the last thing I want to talk about are our limes. So I like to add limes into my green seasoning, just like my cilantro in this recipe, because it adds a nice brightness. It just kind of gives it like that little bright punch to it. But also too, because this is going to sit in our refrigerator for some time, we're making a big batch, but we're going to be using a small amount at a time. This kind of, the acidity in it kind of acts as a little bit of a preservative. So this is why I like to add lime in as well. One last thing I almost forgot. We need to add a little bit of ginger. So you're going to do this kind of the same way that we just did our lime. We're just going to take our knife and just skin it. Get all of our skin off, and then about a thumb size of ginger should be good for our entire batch. Our last step for our green seasoning is to get all of our ingredients into our blender. And like I said, depending on the size of blender or food processor you may have to do this in a couple of batches. I'm probably gonna have to do mine in 2 or 3 batches, but you're just going to add all of your ingredients into your blender, and then you're going to add in just a little bit of olive oil to get it moving. So probably no more than 1/4 cup should be enough. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope that you give this green seasoning recipe a try. This will last in your refrigerator for about a month. Depends on how quickly you actually use it. But if you want it to last longer, you could put it in a some ice cube trays and freeze them and just pull them out to put in your recipes as needed. But I'm going to put a lid on this and put this in the refrigerator. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. And until the next video, take care, and I will see you guys soon.